What's up, what's up? Nice, Kel. Congrats. How's everybody doing tonight? I finally got the kiddos to bed. And I would totally give the early squad a reward, but we got no subscribe cat until after midnight tonight, guys. But what we are gonna do together is get a ton of PvP tickets. So first of all, we've got about 104,000 gems here. So it's time to get some PvP tickets so we can go ham, super ham. Let's do it. There's 100 PvP tickets. And I'm also gonna pick up some shard baskets so that, because I'm almost out. And what we'll do with that is this. Burning these will take me to 8,573 R4 runs. Yeah, that's a lot. Alright, now let's do some PvP. Let's do some PvP, guys. Let's do it. We're gonna use 100 ticket rolls, and we now have 5K PvP tickets. You guys ready to put up 200 TS? 200 gold coins? We're starting the night with 4 gold coins, okay? And the goal is by tomorrow this time, we should have 200 gold coins, okay? That's the goal. Because what we're going to do with that is boost our TS by about 20. We're at 2,475 TS. So we should be at about almost 2,500 TS, hopefully. Hopefully, tomorrow. So the first thing I'm going to do, rocket skates. I'm going to pop an experience tome and an item find tome. So why are we doing that? Well, we want that 200% item find from PvP. We now have 200% item find from the tome, and now we're going to double check our runes really quick. Yeah, we were running XP runes. Now we're going to switch to our item find runes. So that's another 40% from our runes. And I'm going to run... I think I'm going to run Skoldemort, man. I've been really liking Skoldemort lately. What happened was, I was running a bunch of World Boss, and as soon as I ran Skoldemort, runs were so much easier. So I've been a big fan of Skoldemort. It keeps the tanks alive. Let's see. Let's run him for a little while. We'll switch between that and Pumpkin and Quimby. We're pretty much going to run the same setup. We'll jump in and run at full TS. So, let's see what we got in full TS. We're pretty much going to be running against Brazili the whole night. What's up, Feezy? What's up, Unji? And Yeet? And Newbie? And Not. Good to see you guys. So we've got no subscribe cat until later. After midnight. We're already past the API limit. Now, I don't know if you guys noticed, but there's been a couple more streamers in the Discord, and nice, newbie. I'm trying to set it up so that more than just me can do raffles. So it's probably going to be a couple months out. Ooh, 2 losses in a row. I'm not liking that. Let's change something up. We need to drop some TS here. Now, I know I have... So, here's one way to drop TS but not lose your set bonuses. I basically have a spare conduction helmet, and that spare conduction helmet does not have any upgrades yet. So I'm going to go ahead and run that conduction helmet. Now, what's cool about that is I just dropped a bunch of TS, but I still have the set bonus in play. Now, we don't necessarily need the full set bonus, because the last one is 25% damage when there's one enemy alive. We don't really need that. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to actually swap out for consumption. Consumption gives you a 5% chance basically to raise one of your guys if they're about to die. So I'm going to go ahead and run consumption, one that's been not upgraded yet. So we dipped down in TS a little bit. Our health is still looking good. Let's see what we're running as far as points per run. 1475. That's not bad. I'm liking that. The max is 1500 points per win, so we're pretty close to max. This should be smooth. I'm not actually sure on that, Unji. Oh, you want me to run meaty? Yeah, we could do that. We could run meaty. You know what? I have been really slacking, newbie. Kringle is really good. I think Kringle is better than Korgs, but I've been really slacking on the FAMs, to be honest. So I can't really comment, to be honest. Meaty is pretty far down there in the TS, though. Look at this stat difference. Let's go ahead and run him, though. Yeah, this is a +0 meaty. But you see he gets melted though, right? Not looking good here. Ooh! In with the win. One thing I've come to appreciate about PvP is don't focus on getting the gold coins. Just focus on doing your runs, man. Put up 1,000 tickets or 100 tickets or whatever it is you're gonna do, and just burn those tickets. Don't even look at the gold coins because you'll drive yourself crazy. Meaty is standing up pretty well. Now the only reason that I would still run a Stally is the deflect. One deflect in PvP can take a guy out, you know? An empowered critical deflected. Game over. So I'm gonna switch back to Estali. But pay attention to the health. 1874. Estali's only 1281. But that 12% deflect, man, you just can't. In PvP, I just can't go without it. What's up, Sparkly? Yeah, we got no raffles until after midnight tonight, guys, so we got at least another hour without raffles going on. Uh-oh, might lose this one. Okay, now I'm gonna switch up to Quimby from Skoldamort. Let's see how much quicker we decimate the opposing team. You know, another thing to run would be Pumpkin. Now, compare Pumpkin here versus Quimby. So Quimby is attack weakest, which I happen to like, but now Pumpkin attacks all. The entire team. It's pretty darn cool. Now, I am going to stick with the weakest for right now, but Pumpkin is a pretty damn cool pet. Now, the key here is going to be to get those Quimbies to proc before we die. Yeah, see, in this case, we were not kicking off enough healing. You could see that right there. Yeah, you see how fast Estali gets melted with no healing? Yeah, we're gonna need to switch up here. I'm gonna go ahead and go back to Skull. What a difference in that, huh? And that's a +5 Estali, guys. Now granted, this is at 15x, but look at how much more stable that is. Look at how much more stable the fights are. Well, I can tell you when I pop an empowered crit heal for like 3,000, it's pretty good. Yeah, I need a +5 meaty. That would be amazing. I need a lot more feet. Probably around 160 more feet. And if you've ever watched my Orlag fights, you know feet never drop, so... I want to give a shout out to the Hound that has traded a Kira and a Zero Crash perm spot in exchange for all of his friend slots to the stream so that we could raffle his friend slots on the stream. So the Hound is putting in work, just like a bunch of our other stream goers. But oh, gold coin. Yep, it really takes a lot of slots. And you know, we gotta give a huge shout out to Knotlock. Knot was one of the first ones to step up and offer all of his slots to the stream. Mad love for you guys. Nice, Optech. Oh, speaking of the Hound, we're going up against him in PvP right now. Tanks are OP in PvP, so let's see how this goes. The Master's with the attack weakest, man. I'm telling you, attack weakest in PvP is my favorite, because it actually gives us a chance against these tanks. Tanks are so OP. You can, Vince, you can totally manual, but I have 5,000 PvP tickets to burn. I am not going to be manualing 5,000 PvP tickets. Yeah, Keemsa, I know, man. I've been struggling to get the kids to go to bed. Usually they're falling asleep at 10 o'clock p.m. or 11 o'clock p.m. And at that point, I'm usually tired. So yeah, like tonight, for example, the stream is up super late because I just got my second daughter to pass out at about 10:20. This is real right now. This is live right now. Kabuki. Yes, you're probably right, Vince. You are probably right. But I don't think I could do 5,000 tickets manual. Subcat has an API, YouTube API timeout for another hour. So what do we got on ranks? Not that I even really care about ranks. I'm mainly after coins. Vince, the goal is to maintain a 99% plus win rate. Hey Tyson, welcome buddy. Vince, I don't know if you're paying attention, but I'd like you to count how many times I lose. So the goal is to be able to burn max tickets in a 24-hour window for gold coins, right? Each time you win, you get a chance at a gold coin. The goal is gold coins with max bonus. It has been pretty crazy, to be honest. It's been a very busy day. Yes, well, let's count. Vince, you can keep count. How about that? You can be the official Kira scorekeeper. Here's one loss. Vince, let's start from here. Uh-oh, here's another loss. Maybe. Maybe not. That's what happens when you run a tank in the back. Oh, and I lose. 2 losses. Yeah, I'm going for 200 gold coins. So I am not gonna manual 200 gold coins, guys. It's just not gonna happen. This is about numbers. But yeah, the day's going good so far. So we've got a couple beers going. We got double bonus in PvP. Gold coin. That's what we're after right there. Just keep going as quick as we can. They never do bonuses for gems. They always do bonuses. You're looking at the best bonuses right now. You got another loss. You got bonuses on resources right now. Yeah, so I can tell you that Zero Crash and Toby added me very early on. And you know what, Pete V also, so that's not very fair to number one, but Toby and Zero Crash were a big help in me getting 200 in 16 days, and subsequently 300. So I really felt like I really, you know, I'm a pretty loyal person. You know what though? Pete V had added me too, right? And I was in first G. And Pete V adds all first G members, and he was a big help too. And he's a total monster at this point. Yeah, if you go back and watch the Wrath video, opening boxes for Wrath, that's actually when I got the Pete V ad. Or no, not PV, Toby ad. He bet me how many boxes I would have to open in order to get Wraith on the live stream. And I won the bet on the live stream, and he added me live on that video. It's pretty funny. And it kind of went from there. But they could already tell I was insane, so... Ooh. Yeah, this team setup right here is really good. That empowered crit by Master right there. Wow. Yes, Pew Pew did help me. He did. Big help. What's up, Stessen? How you doing? Yeah, actually, I could not, without Pew Pew, I could not manual R3, or I could not auto R3. This was before R4 came out, obviously. And Pew Pew saw me live streaming and dying occasionally on R3 Heroic, and decided that he would add me. excited for Christmas? Yeah, I like giving my kids gifts, you know? So yeah. I am excited for Christmas. I think though, in general, I think we've gone way too far away from the original idea of Christmas. You know, it's all about shopping and driving the economy, which, don't get me wrong, driving the economy is a good thing. And all that, but I don't know. I feel like we've gone way too far away from the real meaning of Christmas, which is to do nice things for others and to have family time and spend time with the ones you love. And honestly, if you really look at the roots of Christmas, there's some religious foundations, which I won't get into. Politics or religion, I won't, I'll try to avoid on the stream. But I definitely think we could be doing better. And I'm gonna remove some more TS. Let's completely... Maybe not, actually. Maybe not. What should I do? One of the things on my to-do list, I just haven't had time to do it, is to finish up this obliteration set, and so I could roll tank for PvP, because it's so unfair that how amazing tanks are in PvP. That's what I really want to do. And I've got Hysteria just chilling. I've got enough obliteration sets to make some shit. That's what I need to do. I just need to take some time. And for next PvP, I'm gonna roll tank. I could do it live right now if you guys wanted to. It's a lot of clicking though. And I do not have a redirect rune. Nope, no redirect. And my tank rune's below too. Well, that's not true. I've got, okay, let's see what runes I got. I got a damage reduction and a deflect. Damage reduction, evade. Evade, or a block. 5% block. Damage reduction. And I do have trophy, but trophy is at +0. Yeah, you know what? I don't feel like dealing with that right now. Do you think we could really... I mean, with trophy at +0? Hang on. Let me see how many... Let me see what I can take trophy up to. If we did an upgrade. And you know what? My epic boogie is not upgraded either. Or beans. Yeah, there's just way. Yeah, and for tank build, we gotta have redirect rune. So I'd be a chump to roll tank right now. I think it would be a waste. Yeah, we'll skip that for right now. But it's on the to-do list. It's on the to-do list. I need to pay attention to which people I'm losing to and avoid those people. Yeah, Tobert's kind of crap though, to be honest. Oh my god, I'm gonna lose to Meaty. Maybe not. Maybe not. I don't know, Tyson. I'm not sure, to be honest. Honestly, all of the top guys are beasts, you know? They put a lot of time into their accounts. Time and money. Come on, gold coins! Yeah, Metallic, I'm not sure, man. He kind of went AWOL. I think he just disappeared on us again. It's pretty easy to do, you know? Honestly, if it was not for you guys and the stream, I'm telling you right now, I would not be playing this game anymore. I'd be done. Look at this monster of a tank. Who is this guy? I wasn't even paying attention. Look at this guy. Whoever that is, you guys need to check out his build because he's taking a beating. Who was that? I'm gonna continue to stream and I'm gonna continue to do raffles. Was that Nova? That was ridiculous, Nova. I think I have found the optimal balance at this point between work, business, the stream, and game time. I think I've got a pretty good balance now. You notice I'm streaming a lot less than I was. And in fact, one of the things that told me I was streaming too much was that damn stat that I got from this tool that this streaming tool that I use. And the streaming tool told me that I streamed more streams than 97% of the other streamers that use that tool. I stream more hours than like 99% of the other streamers out there that use that tool. And that's like tens of thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of streamers. So I realized, what the fuck, I'm streaming way too much. So I've cut that back, a little more family time. So I think I've got a pretty good balance at this point. I do not have 6 meaty. I need 6 meaty. I need 6 meaty. That was very eye-opening, Unji, and I'm actually glad that I got that statistic. It really helped. It's kind of my personality, though. My personality is like all or nothing. I'm either like in it all the way, you know, or I'm not doing it. I'm out, gone, disappeared, ghost. You get one or the other with me. You don't get halfway. My wife, after lots of years, finally understands that I'm that way. Man, they're being super stingy with the gold coins tonight. Crusader's Quest? I'm gonna look it up. Is it completely free, or what is it like this game? I can go look that up right now. I'm gonna do it while our PvP match is rolling. Aha! Crusader's Quest! Ooh, my display adapter just took a dump. Hey, this looks pretty damn cool. Thank you, Tyson. I appreciate that. I'm definitely gonna look into that. I'm gonna post it in my update channel. Tyson says I need to check out Crusader's Quest. Do you play Crusader's Quest quite a bit, Tyson? You know, I've never played PUBG, Feezy. I do want to play some World of Tanks. Hey Vince, we still have 4,000 tickets to grind. Oh, these losses though. You know what? I'm gonna try some. No more Estali. Let's roll meaty. Let's roll meaty with the heals. He's got a bigger health pool. We're at 4,600. Yes. Maybe. Maybe not. One thing I'm noticing is the times I do lose, I'm losing because I'm killing myself. Let me look at my stats really fast. Yeah, my stats are all fucked up right now. That's what's going on. That's what's going on. I need way less attack. Let's clean this up really quick. That's too low. Yeah, that's wonky too. That's still too low. Alright, let's roll this. 440, 707, 1008. See what happens. Yeah, gotta have the sevens. Wookie, what's up? Gotta have the sevens, man. Chaos. Nice, Tyson. Gold coin. We got another 30 minutes before Subscribe Cat can come on. Yeah, this stat distribution right here just solved our issue. This is much smoother. Yeah, I need to, newbie. I know Kringle's amazing. Let's see. How many, you know, I haven't even really looked, man. I've been so out of it. I've been so out of it. Let's look. Let's look. Let's make some Kringles, guys. How many Kringles can we make? Yeah, we can make some Kringles. We got 1.1k ginger snaps. We could make some Kringles. We need 1,200 ginger snaps to make 8 Kringles. 7 Kringles. Is 1,050. So we got plenty to make 7 Kringles. Now we just need Kovolgs. A lot of Kovolgs. Holy God. We'll have to farm that at some point. We've obviously got the ginger snaps now. I guess the question being, there is only 16 hours left. So, what other fams? I don't think we want anything else, do we? Gingermatic? No. We don't want Ginger Mike. Scrooge. Nah. I think we want some Kringles. Crit and dual strike, huh? Closest target. Spread heal. Yeah, I don't know. I think for manual, Kringle would be insane because of the target, right? I'm just such a huge fan of weakest on auto. That spread heal looks good too, though. I ran a lot of invasion, man. I think I'm rank 7. That's a lot of invasion. Wave 29 is the highest. Yeah, yep. I don't know. I think if I was gonna manual, would you want... Here's the thing. Would I rather have 8 masters or 8 Kringles as a tank? I don't know. I like my masters a whole lot, so there has not been a fam to come up that I've been extremely excited about. I really like my attack weakest. Yeah, I fell in love with Master the minute he whooped my ass in Invasion. And then, when he whooped my ass and I found out what his stats were with his skills, I was like, oh my god. I am a big fan of Star Wars. I wouldn't say I'm the type of person that knows every single trivia item about Star Wars, but I have watched the original Star Wars about 400 times, probably. The three original movies. That and Goonies and pretty much all the movies on the stream where we have sound bites. I have not seen the new Star Wars yet, mainly because of the kids. Oh yeah, I do, huh? 466. Let's do it. Let's update our title. Alright, there we got a fresh, crispy, ironed title. And we got 2 gold coins. Loving it. Let's get 100 more just like that. Meaty's a beast. Meaty is a monster. This is a +0 Meaty, and he is a complete monster. Gold coin. I am from the United States. From the state of California. The Snowflake State. We think we're special. We do. We think. But we're not. Another gold coin. Alright, I'm happy with this. Let's get some more of these. Yeah. Yeah. I think I have enough feet to make one more Meaty. I'm not sure. Ooh, I might lose this one. Yep. Kira means cherries, or Kiraz means cherry in Afghani. My wife picked the name Kira for our second daughter, mainly because she liked the name. Like Keira Knightley, basically, was what I think really my wife was thinking about. Hey Vince, we still have 4,500 tickets. Get to Manulin, bro. Yeah, it's weird. The gold coins come in spikes. Alright, I'm gonna switch to Quimby. Let's roll some Quimby. Let's roll some Quimby. See if this helps us at all. I've never really been a fan. We could try that. Let's see if I got enough feet. I do not have enough feet or the supporting stuff. The feet required for meaty is just ridiculous. I've never really enjoyed the Star Wars games. The games always miss the mark for me on Star Wars. Never really capture the magic of the original movies. I did like. I'm blanking on the name, but the one that EA put out, Battlefront, Star Wars Battlefront. I thought that was pretty cool. But it wasn't like insanely amazing that I couldn't put it down. And then I heard EA like totally screwed the pooch. Like they did, I'm not even really up to speed on it, but I heard they did like a crazy paywall to unlock stuff in the next version of it, which I'm not surprised. Hey, good night, Trophy. Gold coin. Hey, we're coming up on midnight. Well, if it's just time, if it's just 200 hours, I'm totally good with that, actually. Because I like games that force you to grind. We've used about 500 tickets so far. Yeah, Subscribe Cat is at the API limit, so we gotta wait till midnight. It is almost midnight. 11:40. Yeah, we'll kick off some 5-minute raffles. Going good, Nick. How you doing? Just burning some PvP tickets here. I don't know if you noticed this, guys, but it really seems that when I do lose these PvP matches, it's because I die. We could really improve that by upping my health. Although it's pretty damn stable. It's pretty stable with Quimby. I think I'm going to switch back to Skull, though. I just want it, or maybe WUV for a little while. I just want to get to that point where we're not seeing a loss at all. Yeah. It's been a hell of a grind, Nick. It has. Ooh, lost. Okay. Pet change, back to Skull. Subcat is sleeping until midnight. What's up, Feezy? Yeah, look at Skull taking me back to damn near full health. I don't know, man. I'm a big Skull fan. Everybody loves tacos. What's not to love about tacos? I have serious music appreciation skills. I really appreciate people that can play music and create music. So I enjoy all forms of music. When I'm working, I like Sasquatch Chronicles. Yeah, I like to sleep to Sasquatch Chronicles. But music-wise, for me, when I'm working, I like electronic or trance. It's like coffee for your brain. That's how I feel. But I like 80s metal. I like 80s music in general, to be honest. Mix of business and engineering. A little bit of both sprinkled together. Metallica is 80s metal. Yep. I love that you guys are addicted to Sasquatch Chronicles. Nice, not? Alright, well if I see you, I'll go for it. I love that you guys are addicted to Sasquatch Chronicles. I am so damn addicted to that show. And you know what? I come to find out that on YouTube, Wes, Sasquatch Chronicles Wes, the creator of the show, he doesn't even have a YouTube channel. So the shit that is on YouTube is pirated. They're pirating his podcast. Who the fuck makes podcasts? Anyway, whatever. But they're pirating his podcast to put it on YouTube. I'm like, Wes, get your shit together, bro. Put your fucking Sasquatch Chronicles on YouTube. Now, the reason he does it is he's got a subscription model. So if you pay a monthly fee, which I agree, he puts on a good show, so I would pay. But if you pay a monthly fee, you get access to more shows, basically. And I want to say you get 3 free shows and you miss 1 if it's paid, you know, 1 paid. So it's like a 3-to-1 thing. But all of the stuff I've listened to this point has been on YouTube, and he doesn't earn a dime from it. I'm like, man, you're totally missing the boat here. Yeah, really. 2 days left. Having a bunch of family over tomorrow. I hope you guys have an awesome Christmas. Be safe too. A lot of crazy energy, people roaming around on the road, driving like maniacs. Drinking and driving, super popular during the holidays, so just be careful, guys. Have a really good Christmas. I am playing on PC right now, on the web browser. But I will play it, when I play mobile, I play on Android. But I have not streamed from Android in forever. I haven't played Steam yet, you know, and honestly, I've got my stuff set up the way I like it. And, ooh, we got a loss. I got my stuff set up the way I like it. I haven't really been interested in the Steam release. I am excited about the Steam release for the new audience that it's going to bring in. What I am very hopeful for is that they need to move the rewards from a rank 1, rank 2 gets the reward. They need to move that to a top 1% of points gets the rewards. That's going to become super critical as we start to bring in more and more and more players. I say it, Ma. to trade them for TS. Last Friday, we were able to do 21 TS in gold coins. Yeah, here, let's go do it really fast. You go into trade, and you go down to this magical button right here. Stat point. 10 gold coins. That's the magic. So my hope is by tomorrow night at this time, I'm cashing in 20 TS, 200 gold coins. And to pull that off, we're gonna need some luck. You should trade him for 4 TS. Yeah, let's wait for Saturday, Wooks. I've decided I'm not going to run World Boss without an item find bonus. About 10 minutes. About 10 minutes, and subscribe cat will be on. It's gonna take until tomorrow night, man. I think you should do free to play on your last piece, Optech. I noticed that when I go free to play, I seem to get drops much easier, man. Like Zero had 3 pieces of the conduction set. Several pieces dropped free to play of other sets. Now, does it come as fast? Nope. It's gonna take you a couple weeks. I think we should do some Sasquatch Chronicles. What do you guys think? We're about 10 minutes away from a raffle. Yeah, I think I'll probably go free to play once I get Bub and just chill until R5 comes out. I'll need to do something for the stream, so I love that you guys like Sasquatch Chronicles, man. It's kind of like my weird obsession. I really like the mountains, I like the outdoors, I just never freaking go, man. So Sasquatch Chronicles has been my weird obsession. It's let's get it kicked off. Let me open this up. I really like the format of Wes's show too, Sasquatch Chronicles. He does really good with it. I tried to listen to some of the other shows out there, and they'll talk about themselves and shit forever, and they'll talk about stuff that's not Sasquatch related. They'll talk about like their coffee. I'm like, man, I'm not listening to your shit to hear about your coffee, bro. Like, where's the Sasquatch stuff at? So Wes has got a great format. I really love his Sasquatch Chronicles show. I think what I need to do is go on there and pay to be a member. Oh, this one's called Shooting at a Sasquatch. It says, interesting encounters on his grandfather's farm. His grandfather would warn him about these creatures and told him to stay away from certain areas on his farm. He made the mistake of hunting that area with his cousin, and they shot at one of these creatures. Nice. This'll be good. Alright, I'm gonna kill the music. Let's get our sass on.
Chronicles.com. If you've had an encounter, email me. My email address is wes@sasquatchchronicles.com.
Hey, good night, Tyson.
Welcome to the show, everyone. Thanks for being here tonight. Got a great show planned for you tonight. Kind of had to move some things around this week because of scheduling conflicts with witnesses.
How's that audio?
On the Vault of Nightmares, their YouTube channel, and I had a long discussion with those guys over 2 hours. Had a ton of fun, and I know the host of the show, he's asked me not to use his name, and I will respect that. He's decided to come on the show and share some of his encounters and how he got into the subject, and even a time where him and his cousin, I know his cousin had accidentally shot at one of these creatures. Very interesting stuff. I know that I could probably talk to this investigator witness for hours and hours and hours. And I apologize I didn't come up with the name for him. I just told him I wouldn't use his name. Great guy. Really enjoy talking to him. Very knowledgeable guy, too. Remember, if you've had an encounter and you'd like to be on the show, shoot me an email. My email address is wes@sasquatchchronicles.com. And if you get a chance, check out the website, become a member of the site, help support the show. There are a lot of cool things. They do additional shows. There's a forum and a lot of interaction with a lot of people on the site. So if you get a chance, I hope you can check it out. Wherever you're at, wherever you're listening to this, I hope you're nice and warm. I know we had like a foot of snow here in the last, couple days, which doesn't sound like much, but where I'm at, half inch shuts down the city. So you can imagine what a foot of snow's done. It's getting a little cabin fever, but I appreciate you guys listening to tonight. Let's jump into it tonight. I want to welcome, we'll call him the Vault Keeper for tonight. Welcome to the show. Thank you for being here.
That's no problem. Thank you for having me.
What's interesting about your situation is you kind of grew up with these creatures, and your grandfather actually talked to you about these creatures. I'd like to kind of start there. Would you mind kind of starting and talking about what your grandfather told you about these things and your experiences around that property?
Yes, sir. After me and one of my family members had a run-in the very first time with one that didn't end real well, I came back scared, didn't know. I'd never heard of Bigfoot, never thought of Bigfoot. It was not on my radar, nothing else. I was about 13 years old, I'm going to say. Got in trouble very severely. That's when he then told me, look, there's things out in the woods that can hurt you that most people don't know about. And at first it confused me. I'm like, okay, well, what do you mean most people don't know about? He said, well, traditional people don't believe these creatures exist. They've been around as far back as, he'd been told. My grandfather was Native American. He told me stories of, that he was told, it was passed down, that these creatures, if given the opportunity, would snatch children up, would snatch women up, men, and carry them off and supposedly eat them. He told me since I was going to run around out in the woods like that, what I needed to do was to avoid them. If I thought they were in the area, to leave. He told me he didn't care if I found a pot of gold, leave it and leave, because it's not worth your life. Because these creatures don't like it most of the time when you invade their area, or you could just have one that's in a bad frame of mind, as he put it. So he carried me out, showed me an area probably about 5 miles from our house. It's a certain valley. I tell the story on my YouTube channel. They called it Boiguh Valley. Now the story that I tell did not happen to me. It happened to a friend of mine that lived just a little piece down the road. Now I had been all over this property that I tell the story about. And like I said, we were taught how to avoid, what to look for if we even thought there was one in the area, to leave. And like I said, I've had multiple sightings when I was younger. Some of them were good. What I mean by that is all they did was basically throw rock sticks or holler at us or me. And a couple of times it got pretty hairy.
Tell us about the first time you ran into one of these creatures. What were you out doing, and what did it look like? If you would, for the audience, kind of describe what you were doing and then kind of talk about what you actually saw. Okay.
Well, the very first time, I said I had no idea these creatures even existed. We were deer hunting. Me and, I said, my family member, which is my cousin. Growing up, that was basically my best friend growing up. We were deer hunting, and he was a lot younger than I was. I think I was like 13, or I think it was 13 to 14, and he was around 10 to 11. And like I said, he didn't have a father growing up. It was, he was raised by his single parent, his mother. And I was big into hunting, and he wanted to follow, kind of right in my footsteps. So I was teaching him how to hunt, and I was actually still learning a good bit at the time too. Well, we had a little thing going on at school where, the guys did, whoever killed the biggest buck that year, we kind of like put a little pool together. I think it might have been $50 or $60, something like that. Like I said, we were just kids. We had somebody else, hold the money in their locker at school. And like I said, at the end of the year, at the end of the deer season, whoever had killed the biggest deer would win the pool, and they got bragging rights for that year. Well, I'd done seen this buck a couple of years in a row, and he was a monster. I'm an old deer. If anybody deer hunts, when I say, he done got so old, he done took on almost of a grayish look into his coat. I'm talking big, massive deer. And there was this one area on my grandfather's property which led into what I call Boiguh Valley at the time. I didn't know that. There was this one area we were always told to stay out of. Now, moonshining was big in the area that I grew up in. And I figured for, reason why they didn't want us kids going back there is maybe that was their, somebody's moonshine still or fight or something. But during that time of the year, you don't make moonshine. So I was like, well, I'm going to sneak back here. I know that deer's back here. I'm going to sneak back there and put me a stand up. That's where I'm going to hunt at. Well, I had a home-built deer stand. I built it in a shop class. It was built out of drill stem pipe, lightweight drill stem pipe, like what they use to drill water wells. It's not quite as heavy gauge as what they use for oil wells. I'd wound up on some of it. That's what I made this stand with. The stand, from the top of the stand to the bottom where it touched the ground at, was almost 17 feet, if I'm not mistaken. Like I said, I snuck out there, put that stand up probably 2 weeks before deer season had started. So, you know, the deer would get acclimated to that thing being out there, any smells that I got on it or whatever, you know. Well, I remember exactly what time of the year this was because we got out Christmas. Back then, we got out like a week before and a week after Christmas, you know, for the New Year. Well, the second day we were out of school, the wind was just right, everything was just right. My cousin was there with me. I said, look, we're going to this secret spot. Can't tell nobody. And we get out there, and he's like, ain't this where we were told not to go? I said, well, you just keep your mouth shut. I said, we're going to get this big deer. Now, he doesn't have a gun. He's using my 12 gauge. It's Mossberg 12 gauge 500 series with a vented barrel on top. And the way I always load my shotgun was I had a buckshot slug, buckshot slug, buckshot slug. And then I was using, I'd saved up all summer long and bought me a Browning Grade 2 30-06 automatic. I was super, super, super proud of that gun. I'm talking about it cost me a good bit of money. Anyway, that's what I was using. Had a scope on it and everything. I think it was 3x9 Redfield that I had on it, if I'm not mistaken. It was either Redfield or Tasco. I can't remember. I think it was Redfield. But we had got there probably an hour before sunup because this deer had been coming out. I had patterned it. It had been coming out just right at sunrise. And between sunrise and 9 o'clock, it was coming out in this little thicket area through a bunch of pine trees. And it would come out, go into the hardwoods, and then circle around and go right back in. And this is the only clear area that I could find to get a shot at this deer. We get there way before, like I said, probably an hour before sunrise. We get in our stand, we're not making any noise, you know, and everyone, he's kind of sitting below me, and I'm sitting up above him. It's not like a double side by side like you have now. He's actually sitting kind of like in between my legs in an area that I've built extra, and I can almost lean. I'm close enough I can lean down and talk in his ear. We're sitting there, and the wind changed directions a couple of times, and I always tried to hunt the way I was taught, was hunt with the wind in your face. That way, if you do have any smell that you can't get off, you're okay because the wind's not blowing to the deer, it's blowing away from the deer. And that's why I'd set the stand up, and that's why I was excited, because the wind was in the perfect direction. Well, it kept changing that morning, though. Every once in a while, a gust would come up and push our scent down that area, down through that area. But most of the time, it was blowing from the area we were wanting the deer to come out at to us. Well, right before it started getting light, we got this just crazy smell coming out. And me, like I said, I'm actually still learning. I'd always been told, you know, old big bucks, especially during this time of year, which is the time when the rut comes in, they give off a musky odor anyway. I'm thinking, that's the deer. I leaned down, and matter of fact, I remember telling him, I believe he's, you know, getting right there close to the edge. You know, he could come out at any minute. So keep your eyes open and looking around. Now, the way the stand is set up, we're about 75 yards away from where the deer is going to come out. It should walk towards us and close the gap into about 40 yards, and he'd turn and walk down this little draw into a hardwood bottom. And that way I could get a shot or he could get a shot. And usually there was another deer that followed in behind this deer. But it was during the rut, so I figured doe or something would come out and my cousin could get a shot at the doe, and I was going to try to take the big buck. Well, like I said, we kept smelling the smell. I'm talking about this went on to, you know, that time of the morning where it's not quite daylight, but it's not dark either, where shadows and, you know, you can see dark objects and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Well, that's about the time that the first time I seen something move. Now, like I said, we're 75 yards away, and I did not have binoculars. I just didn't have any at that time, and I was just using my rifle scope to check out stuff. Well, I kept seeing something move down there, and I told him, I said, I see something. He said, yeah. He said, I thought I seen a tree move. I said, you couldn't. I said, I don't think you seen a tree move. You know, deer's not go. These are pine saplings. They're probably 7 to 8 inches around. Now, I'm not thinking no deer's just to move a sapling, but okay. But he kept saying, I thought I seen a tree move. And we're sitting there, and the smell just gets stronger. I was like, darn, I said, that deer really must be rutting good. You know, that's a good sign. And we had deer sent out buck and doe urine out in the area right there too to mask our smell and hopefully bring him in. You know, every once in a while we catch our own smell. There was one smell that I just could not. It just stunk. Old garbage, skunk, just a whole bunch of mixture. And I'm thinking, man, that just stinks. What in the devil? Well, then he keeps telling me, I see something moving. So I lift my gun up, I'm looking down there, and I catch a glimpse of hair. And at first I thought it was the deer, but it was it was like a rusty looking color. I'm like, that's not last time I seen this deer, it had a gray look to it. But it must be another deer. Maybe it's another deer with that deer. I don't know. So we're going on. I said, this is time's kicking on and it's starting to get more and more light. All of a sudden, I do see a tree move. And I'm thinking, what is he doing? Making a rub on a pine tree? Which I'd never seen a deer rub a pine tree, but most of the time they rub cedars, gums, little oaks. But, you know, I'm new to hunting, so I'm like, okay, well, they do rub pine trees. Like I said, time it keeps going on. Like I said, and I seen another tree move. I'm like, how the hell is he making two trees move? So now I'm bringing my gun back up and I'm looking. And as I get to looking, I notice the hair and stuff I'm seeing is way too way too high up in the trees for it to be a dang deer. Because I know about where the limbs start out on the tree, and they come up. The first limbs come up to about my middle of my stomach at that time. Now that's pretty good. That's higher than a deer is going to be, you know, than a deer should be. And I can see hair. It looks like then above that. So now I'm really looking, and all of a sudden, then I get the notice, and I'm like, that looks like an elbow. Wait a minute, this don't make good sense now. And then as I trace it, you know, I'm looking for the elbow, and I'm like, okay, and I keep looking, and all of a sudden, I see a face. But the crazy thing was, it's not a face that you would expect to see. This is the craziest looking thing that I've ever seen. My first thought was somebody was playing a joke on us. You know, somebody's seen my deer standing out there. They're trying to scare us. They're trying to run us off. You know, because we're not supposed to be anyway. You know, somebody's messing with us. Well, by that time, this thing kind of steps half in, half out of that thicket there. Now I can see it pretty good. You know, I'm looking through a scope, and I've got it turned up as high as it'll go, and I'm not but 75 yards away. My first actual thought, when I was little, I used to be big into wrestling, I thought Andre the Giant was in a Chewbacca outfit because you remember that movie Return of the Jedi? It had just come out in the theater, and we had went to see it just a couple. That's why the first thing I thought of was Chewbacca, except for the face looked like some kind of. The way I can describe it is this one did have kind of a comical shaped head. It's not like a cone head. It does go up in. It's not. It goes up in kind of a triangulish form, I'd say. But the forehead is, it's sloped back and looks like it's bigger than it should be. There's a eye ridge bone that sticks out that you can see. The easiest way I can describe that was used to be a show Star Trek, and there was this thing called a Klingon on there, and that's what it reminded me of. Sort of the forehead and the eye ridge was, you know what I'm talking about, the Klingon thing.
Yeah, kind of like Neanderthals had that broad.
Yeah, that's the easiest way. Like I said, not quite like that, but in that like that. And his eyes looked like they were sunk back further in his head than what I thought what it looked like it normally should be, like a gorilla or something like that. But it didn't look like a gorilla, and it had these freaking big, huge black eyes. The eyes were, man, just freaky because they're just black. I'm talking about, think of soulless, dark black. And I don't remember seeing no pupil. I don't think it had one. All I remember is just seeing black eyes. And then its face, you come down to its nose. Now, its nose is kind of squished flat, but it's got nostril holes like ours. And it's wide. And then it's got this big, wide mouth. And every once in a while, it's got lips like we do. And it looks like it keeps, like, at first I thought it was grinning, smiling, but it's lifting its top lip up, like it's showing its teeth, teeth. It's not making a smile, but it's lifting its top lip keeps moving. And it keeps putting its head back, sniffing the air. And he, to me, honestly, he acted like he was getting more agitated as it went along. And that's when I noticed the wind had changed directions, and now our scent is going that way. And I honestly believe this thing caught a whiff of us. But we were in full camouflage, and it couldn't couldn't see us because we're not moving. Well, the way my cousin's got his holding his gun, he's right-handed. So he's got the butt of the gun in his right hand, with holding it with the forearm in his left hand. Well, I tell him, I said, look, point your gun in that direction in case this thing takes off at us, because I don't think that's a man. I don't know what that is. Because at first, this went on for probably 3 or 4 minutes. It wasn't just for a few seconds or whatever. This thing is standing there. And the longer it's standing there, the more scared I'm getting, the more scared he's getting. And what it's doing is trying to figure out where we are. Because at this time, we still hadn't moved really, and we're not making any noise. Well, as he goes to swap his hand swap the gun around from his right hand to his left hand so he can get, put the barrel of the gun on that creature or animal, whatever you want to call it. Because like I said, I ain't sure what at this time this is. The barrel of the gun hits that metal stand and it goes ting. As soon as it does that, this thing looks straight up that hill, I'm talking about dead in our direction. That thing keyed in on that sound so dead gone fast and so accurate. I just couldn't believe it. Because I'm looking through a scope now, and I tell him, be careful. I said, go. I said, and this thing just throws his head back and starts like he's sucking like that. And I don't know. And it's kind of like waving its arm that I can see, just waving it. It's not like back and forth, but it's kind of like in front of it, and it's kind of like hitting the tree. The whole dang tree is shaking. Now, I did not realize that my cousin had took the shotgun off safety during this time. He swapped it around. And when this thing starts doing this, he just gets scared. And all of a sudden, he just throws his head back and does what I call a siren scream. And when he done that, my cousin freaked out, tensed up, and when he did, his finger was in the trigger well, and he pulled the damn trigger. And the gun went off. Now, we're 75 yards away, and the first round he had in the shotgun was buckshot. So I don't think he actually hit the creature. but it made him madder than hell because he covered that ground. As soon as he pulled that trigger, he covered 75 yards in such a length of time, I couldn't react to do anything. It ran by us, and the whole time it's running by us now, it's doing this, and it swats. And as it comes by us, it hits right below my cousin's feet. Hits that metal deer stand, and I swear they broke like toothpicks. If anybody's ever used a ladder stand, if you break the legs out, the top's coming to the ground. We come to the ground, we hit the ground, we both landed, it kind of knocked the air out of us. We rolled and went the opposite direction. We left everything of the direction it was and ran until we got back to the house. We get back to the house, he's going bonkers. There's a monster, and we called my grandfather Papa. He's screaming to the top of his lungs, Papa, there's a monster out there, it's after us. And he turns and he looks, and he sees how we're looking, and I'm talking about we're cut up with briars and everything else. We didn't take the normal path back home. We just went the direction home was, through whatever we could go through to get away from this thing. Anyway, he looks at me and says, what have y'all been up to? I said, Papa, I said, there's something down there in those woods. It's big, hairy, and mad as hell. First time I ever remember cussing in front of my grandfather. He said, where were y'all at? And I just looked and I said, over in the bottom, close to the hardwood thicket and the creek. He got so freaking mad. I've never seen my grandfather get so mad. I got the worst whipping I'd ever got that day. Now, not only have I got the snot scared out of me, and I got tore up by briars and everything, now I just got a whipping. At the time, I did not know why. Now, we left guns, everything out there. At the time, I didn't want to go back in the woods because I didn't know what this was and what had happened. Well, I said, that was just a few days before Christmas. Well, Christmas came, went, and then the next week was, I think it was like the middle of the week. I don't remember exactly what day it was. He comes to me that morning after I finished my chores. He says, he always said, boy. I don't care how I've been called boy so many times by him. He said, boy, he said, we need to go down there and get that stuff y'all left. I said, sir? He said, we need to go down there. You said y'all left a stand and stuff like that down there? I said, yes, sir. He said, well, come on. He said, we need to go down there and get it. I said, yes, sir. So let me go get I had a 30-30 in the house. So let me go get my other gun. And, I'll be right there. He said, no. He said, you don't need that. I said, nah, I'm adamant. Papa, this thing is probably still down there. We done made it mad. I don't think this thing's nothing. He said, don't worry about that. He said, just come on. So I take him back up there, take him to the tree. And the whole time of this, I don't realize he's got this little, I don't know if any of your viewers or listeners know what a toe sack is. But, it's made out of like a canvas or a burlap. This is a small one. Probably think of the size of a sack of sugar, or a 5-pound sack of sugar. I didn't notice because I'm scared even about going down there, especially if we're going down there and we ain't got no gun. I didn't realize he had this with him. We gather all our stuff up. My gun is still laying there, or what's left of my gun, and my shotgun that my cousin was using is still laying there. The both of them are bent and broken half. I'm talking about he took a 12-gauge shotgun, and you know how those straws you get that's bendy on the end,
yeah.
you flex them over. That's the way the barrel of the shotgun looked. It just looked like something grabbed it with two different hands and just the end of the barrel. And then he actually broke the rifle in half because the way it's made, it was more sturdier. And when he went to bend it, it just snapped and it broke right where the barrel and the breech of the gun, the receiver of the gun come together. It just broke it. And like I said, this wasn't no cheap. This is a Browning, grade 2, 30-06, fully automatic. I'm not fully. I mean, it's automatic. I think they call them BARs now, for short. But he breaks it. I'm talking about the stand looks like something tried to ball it around a tree. That we had to. It took me and my grandpa both to kind of pull back and get it loose from the tree, and we get all that stuff I start to leave, and he takes that. That's when I noticed he had that little bag with him. He set it at the bottom of that tree where that deer stand was, where we had set that deer stand up, turned around and looked at me and told me, don't ever, I don't mean to cuss no, but this is his very words, do not ever bring your damn ass back in here again.
What did he leave behind?
I don't know what was in the bag. I didn't even know that he had it until he set it down, because like I said, I'm scared the whole time. You know, I'm thinking that this thing is going to be down there when we get down there. And I didn't realize he had this bag with him until he set it up under that tree. And he turned around because he was still bent over, pointing at me, and then said what I just said. And when we got back to the house, I threw we had a scrap pile. I threw everything, just threw everything in because there wasn't no saving nothing. I threw everything in the scrap pile, gun parts, everything in the scrap pile. Well, a couple of days went by. My grandfather now was one of his men that you didn't ask a whole lot of questions, and he didn't talk a whole lot. If he told you something, that's what he meant, and he was short-worded. Well, he was out putting up the horses one evening, and I asked him, I said, Papa, I said, what was that thing? And that's when we kind of sit there in the barn, and he explained to me what he thought we had run into and what he thought these were. He called them the hairy bastards. Is exactly what he called them. He said they had been roaming around this area before even he was a child. People had went missing that had went in certain areas. People that put up steels and moonshine steels back in that area. They'd go in there and put a steel up, put their corn mash in and start mashing in. They go back to run their liquor, and sometimes those people will never seen again. Or they get there in their mash barrel. I'm talking about, think of a 55-gallon drum barrel. The mash is not spilt on the ground, but the barrel is gone. You're talking about a couple of 100 pounds. You know, water weighs 8 pounds a gallon. You're talking about a 55-gallon drum, almost full to the top with water and soaked up corn and the other ingredients that I'm not going to name in this. So I'm talking about it's more than just water. So it's really, 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 I say it's a couple 100 pounds, and there's no mash spilt, but the barrel is gone. 2 men, 3 men could tote one of these barrels off full of mash, and it's gone. There's no drag marks. There's no nothing.
I'm curious, did your grandfather ever talk about a time where he ran into them?
Yes, sir. They toted off a genie one time. I don't know if you know what a genie is.
I don't. Would you explain it for the audience and myself?
Okay. Well, a genie is you take I think I'm right about this because it's been so long. A genie is the mama to a jackass. You take a genie and a horse and breed them together, and that's how you make a jackass or a jack. All right, and they're just a little bit smaller than a jack. I don't like cussing on your show like that, but they're just a little bit smaller, but they're pretty ornery. But something had.
Bueller.
My grandfather said he went out there and he had
Bueller.
a chore.
Bueller.
He done every day himself. He made sure all his horses, goats, everything like that, they were brought back up to the house, and they had corrals. He put them in corrals. They were never left out. I don't care what was going on, how stormy it was, whatever. They were never left out to roam the pastures. He brought all that in every night. He said the reason why that was because when he was younger, he had a little genie that was his. He had bought himself, and he would ride it and all that kind of stuff. That's when he was a kid. That was his entertainment and his pet. Well, he went out to the field one morning to catch his genie, and he was going to get on it, and he was going to go down to meet some of his friends at the creek, and they were going to go fishing and swimming and all kind of stuff like that. Well, when he went out there, he heard the genie just going bananas in the back field, and he's like, it must be coyotes or wild dogs or something, because a genie will fight. If a coyote gets in there or a wild dog or something, they will fight that thing. That's why most people keep them in their pastures and stuff around their livestock, because they will kill a coyote quick. And he thought that must be what it is. There's a couple coyotes or something like that. Then so he takes off running. As he tops over this little hill, he said this, like I said, he calls them big hairy bastards. He said this big hairy bastard was standing there and had picked his genie up, and it looked like her neck was turned facing the wrong, all the way around twice, facing the wrong way, and he picked it straight up off the ground like it was a doll, threw it over his shoulder, and started walking away back towards the wood line. I said, "What'd you do?" He said, "I just stood there." He said, "I was crying. I was mad." He said, "This thing picked up my genie." He said, "You got to understand, this genie probably weighed 800 to 900 pounds. This was a full-size big genie. I'm talking about, because it's been well fed." He said it had to weigh at least that much. And it picked it up like it was a doll and just threw it over his shoulder and walked away. That was his first encounter and stuff of them. And then I guess after that, he didn't like them. He absolutely hated them. Now, he said several years after that, there was a man that went down in there that a paper company owns the timber where we call Booger Valley. A paper company owns that. Supposedly, a man went in there to cruise the timber for the paper company to see, how well the trees were growing, what size they were, what the average price of tree and stuff like that was. That's what they mean by cruising. Well, he went down there to cruise the timber. He went missing. He didn't come back for several days. Well, then some people from the paper mill come around and started asking questions. Well, they set off down in the woods to go down there to find him, and they got run out by some of these damn things. Well, then they got a big uproar going, and several of the locals, kept telling them they were already mad because these things were grabbing their livestock and stuff like that. And the sheriff at the time, he kind of, I guess you'd call it, made a posse up like the old days, and they were going to go down there and, deal with this. It didn't work out that well for them. I think another man got killed, and several others wound up in the hospital. And what they wound up doing was setting a fire, making a fire ring around that place, and they burnt everything. They just set the whole damn place on fire just to try to run them out and get rid of them. Is the story that he told me. But I do believe another man wound up getting killed. They actually threw a tree, and it hit him and landed on him and crushed him. It broke his back. And then several others got hurt, and that's when, like I said, they set a fire, and like I said, they probably burnt. This is timber land, paper company land. That's how they make their money. They probably burnt, it's probably a mile across and 2 miles deep of woods.
That's amazing. And
I don't know if you've ever heard of anything like that happening before, or somebody trying that or doing that.
There's an area in Alaska. It wasn't Sasquatch. Well, who knows at this point? But it was mountain giants. People were reporting seeing these mountain giants, and they describe them a little bit different than Sasquatch. More like the Kandahar giants is basically what people are describing. And it was a timber company owned a bunch of land, and coincidentally, the whole area burnt down. No one ever figured out who started the forest fire, but it burnt down a whole area up there. And right before it burnt down, there was all these reports of these mountain giants, people running into these mountain giants, people coming up missing, and it was all timber company land, and they ended up burning the place down. I had a lady one time on the show, she named off the name of the fire, and so that's it. It was started to get rid of these things, get them out of the area. And she worked for the government. It's a whole nother story, but
well, apparently it worked for several years, and then I guess over time they kind of moved back in the area, but they don't stay there all the time. Now during the hot summer months, it's very rare you would hear somebody say they seen one, or they would have the odd occurrences like barns with the doors on the barns would be pulled off the hinges and stuff like that. Just odd stuff like that wouldn't happen during the hottest part of the summer months. Now, when it got into the fall, like around October all the way through, I'm going to say May, oh yeah, they were heavy in that area.
I wanted to ask you, going back to your encounter, you and your cousin's encounter, looking back on that whole situation, why do you think the creature didn't kill you two?
I think because we were armed and he'd already done shot at it, and it was coming through. It come at us, and like I said, it hit the stand. I think it was trying to hit one of us when it hit the stand, and it just kept going. It made a beeline. I'm talking about straight for us, hit that stand, and then he kept going. And when we hit the ground, we were going, just happened to be going kind of diagonal from it, and you could hear it tearing trees and everything else. I think then it came back after it figured out we took off, and it tore the guns and stuff like that up. But I think it thought we were going to, we were shooting at it trying to kill it. And because we were armed, I think that's the only reason why we survived.
Yeah, no, and you might be right on that, actually. And I love to hear the witness's perspective on what they thought was going on in the moment. Now, around this property, did your grandfather ever talk about them coming up to the home? Did he ever have any problems with them actually coming up to his home? Or was it mainly just around the property?
Well, we'd only had them come up around our house like just a couple of times. And what he would do, he always put out what I called at the time, I didn't know why. I didn't know why when I was younger he done it. After I got older, I figured out why he was doing it. Like, I don't know if you ever heard like the old thing they do, string wire up around and put tin cans and bottles with rocks. And BBs and stuff like that, and it'll make noise and for us, hit that stand, and then he kept going. And when we hit the ground, we were going, just happened to be going kind of diagonal from it, and you could hear it tearing trees and everything else. I think then it came back after it figured out we took off, and it tore the guns and stuff like that up. But I think it thought we were going to, we were shooting at it trying to kill it. And because we were armed, I think that's the only reason why we survived.
Yeah, no, and you might be right on that, actually. And I love to hear the witness's perspective on what they thought was going on in the moment. Now, around this property, did your grandfather ever talk about them coming up to the home? Did he ever have any problems with them actually coming up to his home? Or was it mainly just around the property?
Well, we'd only had them come up around our house like just a couple of times. And what he would do, he always put out what I called at the time, I didn't know why. I didn't know why when I was younger he done it. After I got older, I figured out why he was doing it. Like, I don't know if you ever heard like the old thing they do, string wire up around and put tin cans and bottles with rocks and BBs and stuff like that, and it'll make noise and stuff. This is, like I said, when I was younger, we didn't have like the big floodlights and stuff. Now later on, he bought floodlights and stuff like that and put them up. He would have stuff like that out. You know, it wasn't nothing for him to walk out on the back porch at 2 o'clock in the morning, and if he thought somebody was messing around, he'd fire a couple of rounds off in the air with a double-barrel shotgun, just as a warning. And I think they figured out, hey, if we mess around up here, this man right here is going to try to hurt us. And like I said, he always put his animals up by the house. He run electric fences, and his idea of an electric fence was not like what most people use. I called it the poor man's electric fence. He actually took a 110. He took a metal wire, run it all the way around, but he had a couple down low, and then he had some up that were to the top of the corral, and the top of the corral was at my eye level. So I don't know. I always thought it was to keep the other animals in or whatever, but now I believe it was to keep those damn things out. And the way he set it up was, he put a light bulb and plugged it in to 110 power. It wasn't to like a electric converter box. He did this himself. So when you touched it, you're getting 110 volts, and it's a light bulb in between it, so it don't blow. The stronger the light bulb, the more wattage the light bulb is, the longer it lasts to shock you.
He wasn't messing around.
And trust me, no, and trust me, it hurts, because I accidentally bumped that thing one time, and that's all it took, and it knocked me on the ground. 110 will knock you down.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, I know.
Bueller?
I know.
Bueller?
That's why I say he wasn't messing around. That's for sure.
No, all those deterrents is the reason why. And then the guy next door, down the road from me, he wound up going missing. These things kept tearing into his barn, and they actually tore the back of the wall out of his barn one night because he had reinforced the front doors. They tore the back of the barn out, and he raised doll sheep. I don't know if you know what that is or not. Some people call them fanning sheep, but he raised sheep is what he did for a living. That's one of the things he did. Well, these things one night come in and tore the back of the barn out, and they probably killed 15 of those sheep. I'm talking, it looked like they'd been run through a chipper. Well, he got mad, and he sat in that barn. The next night, he sat in that barn with his shotgun, and I remember hearing 2 shots go off in the middle of the night, and my papa sit up that whole night. I'll never forget that. He sat up that whole night. We heard 2 shots go off down there. We heard a scream, and my papa grabbed his flashlight and grabbed his .357. He had a Smith & Wesson, a 686 Smith & Wesson, big heavy son of a gun. He grabbed it and his 10-gauge shotgun and jumped in his truck, went out the door, jumped in his truck, and took off that way. Well, it wasn't long after that, here come several sheriff's cars. But we lived in a rural area. Several sheriff's cars come flying up through there, and a couple other cars come flying up through there. Well, the next morning, my grandfather comes back, and he's talking to my grandmother, and they're talking in the front room, and they're kind of whispering. And he said, I remember him saying they can't find him. They didn't find him. They found his gun, and his gun looked like it was smashed down in like 4 or 5 inches down in the mud, and they found part of a bloody shirt, and they never did find nothing else of that man. That was it.
Yeah, I can see why your grandfather hated him, why he had no love for him at all.
Oh, yeah.
And generally,
no, my grandfather didn't.
And generally, people down in the South, around in rural areas that have these creatures on or around their property, they all generally say the same thing. I mean, no one really has much love for them down there when they're true encounters down there. Most people, I know there's a crazy lady here in Washington. Well, I don't want to say crazy lady. There's a lady here in Washington State, and she feeds them constantly. And I've warned her about it. She just thinks I'm the biggest jerk on the planet because I tell her I think that's a bad idea. And, at the end of the day, I don't have one in my garage I'm studying, so what do I know? But just off common sense, I wouldn't feed a grizzly bear that was coming on my property. I sure wouldn't feed a cougar that was coming on my property. There's no way I'd feed these things coming on my property.
I'm going to tell you, by my experience, feed them is the worst thing in the world to do. Because, okay, what if when that lady dies, somebody else moves into that property, her family, whoever it is, comes in there, they're going to be expecting that food to still come. And when it doesn't come, they're going to go find out why it's not coming. And all they know is that human was bringing me the food. So they associate that human with the food, one way or the other. I've done seen that go bad a couple of times.
So on this property that your grandfather owned, was there just certain areas where he told you not to go?
Yes, sir. It was right around the edge. Our property butted up, like I said, with the backside of that timber company. And like I said, it was a big valley that went down through there. And like I said, it was where they had cut around the outside edge of that valley a long time ago, and it was like cut over pine that had been replaced out there. It was probably about 12 foot tall. And that's the other thing. Once we got to seeing that thing move, the whole time we thought it was shaking, grabbing the tree and shaking it, it was because its head was almost as high as those trees. And like I said, I know those trees at the time were almost about 12 foot tall. And its head was almost at the top of those freaking trees. So that's why I said I knew after I got to paying attention and stuff, it wasn't no man. But the first thing that popped in my head was why is Andre the Giant out here in a damn Chewbacca outfit? And I got to thinking, that's way too big. I don't know anybody around here that big. And then I got to looking, I was like, that thing's as tall as the trees. There ain't nobody that big around here.
Yeah, I think I'd be a little nervous, especially with your cousin saying, I think I saw a tree move. Immediately when he started saying that, I knew exactly what he was looking at. I mean, I could just imagine. Did your grandfather ever tell you, hey, son, look for this, 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 and this, and if you see these things, turn around and go the opposite direction, like signs?
He told me to never turn Well, he told me if I wound up, and I did run up on one once, and I'll tell you this after that. He always told me never turn my back on him. He said, don't, whatever you do, if you wound up in front of one, try to be as non-evasive as you can. Try not to look them in the face because they don't like that. Put your hands out by your side with your palms up so they can see you don't have nothing in your hands because they know what weapons are. And back slowly away. Never turn and never run. It's the one thing he drilled to me. Never turn your back on them and never run. Later on, I was probably about 16 years old when I had my second, what I call face-to-face, up-close and nasty encounter with a couple. Not just one, a couple. There was a guy that had put in that had bought some land close to us. It was probably through the woods, probably 3 or 4 miles. And like I said, I grew up out there hunting, running over those woods, the whole 9 yards my whole life. When that man put in that hunting camp over there, he was friends with my grandfather. Well, several of the school kids, like I said, that hunted that area and everything, he hired us to carry the people out. Now, the way that he had this set up was he'd went out and built shooting houses, and during this off season, he would plant beans and soy, not cotton, but beans and corn and stuff like that. And the only other agricultural that was around there was cotton. So the only place that had food for deer was on his place. And you'd go pay him a fee, and he had a lodge built out there where, they could stay, they could bring their wives, stuff like that. He fed them. And then we would carry them out, put them in a stand in the morning and tell them, okay, basically at this time you can look for the deer to come out there, and they'd shoot their deer, and, and we'd go get it. They didn't even drag it out or nothing else or clean it. We did all that. They just took their pictures with it, and went about their business. I call it, the rich man's hunt. Well, one summer we kept having a problem with poachers, or at least that's what we thought we had, was poachers. We kept finding deer that were, it looked like somebody was killing them and, taking the back straps and stuff like that out of the deer and just leaving the rest of the body. Every once in a while we'd come across one that was just gutted, and that was it. And we're thinking, why is somebody doing this? I never put 2 and 2 together. I was sick. Like I said, at the time I was 16. I won't never forget it because I just got my driver's license, and I was trying to save up to get a truck. Well, he put a bounty out. If any of us caught somebody out there poaching, if we helped them get convicted, he'd pay us $500 a piece for every poacher we got convicted. And I'm thinking, cha-ching! I'm fixing to buy me a truck because I have the unique set of tracking skills taught by me and by my grandfather and his brother and stuff like that. I will say, I'll toot my own horn. I'm a better than average tracker because I did it all. I grew up doing it. And tracking humans is not like tracking animals. Most people, when you're tracking animals, you look from the ground to 2 foot, tall. That's because that's about the size of the animal that's going to be in that area in where we were. Well, tracking humans, you look from about 2 foot up to about 4 foot. Because people will break limbs and stuff like that. Animals don't go through the woods breaking limbs out of the way. That's human. And usually they push them. If you got a limb in front of you, they'll grab it and push it up and away from them. Well, like on cedar and stuff like that, if you look at the cedar limb that's been pushed out of the way, whichever side that the cedar bark has been rubbed off of, that's the side they were on, and they were going the opposite direction. Grass won't be broke off right down at the bottom. It'll be broke off up about elbow high and stuff like that because of people snagging their stuff and, going through and pushing stuff out of the way. That's the way I was taught to track human. Well, I come across a deer one day out there when I was going, we were cleaning up the blinds out, refreshing them for the up and coming new season, making sure there wasn't no wasp nest and stuff like that. And I come across a deer that looked like he had just been gutted. The only thing is I couldn't find no place this thing had been shot, stabbed, and nothing else. But it looked like it's, how you take a chicken, they would take a chicken in the old days and grab it by the neck and they spin it around and its neck would be curled up. like a corkscrew.
Yeah.
That's the way this deer's neck looked. And I'm thinking, how the hell did they do that? But it looked like somebody had just killed it, and they were just starting to gut it because the guts were pulled half out of the deer. And right beside it, and it was kind of muddy, there was a muddy, at the time, looked like a boot track to me, about the same size as mine. And I wore a 9.5-inch shoe. I'm thinking, I'm fixing to catch me a poacher, $500 fixing to go to me. So I take off, start tracking the poacher. Well, I probably tracked him a half a mile through the woods, but it kept doing weird stuff that didn't make any sense to me. Like he would make zigzags or either almost make a horseshoe and then take off right back across itself where we just came from. Well, there's a big creek that runs through the area. It went all the way to that creek finally, and then when they started walking down that creek, there's a slough right there. And the slough's probably 50 foot wide. And then you got the creek on the other side, and it's an opening probably about 20 yards between the creek, edge of the creek, and the slough. And I got to thinking, I don't like this. This is a good place for somebody to ambush you because it's about 40 or 50 yards long before it opens back up. It's a natural bottleneck. Well, this thing had walked right down through there. I take off down through there. Now, I've got my grandfather's pistol, that Smith & Wesson 686. And when I got about 14 years old, he gave it to me. And when I went in the woods, that thing was with me. He always told me, never go in the woods without a weapon. That was one thing he drilled into me. I don't care what you're doing. If you're going fishing, you're just going for a walk, you always have a weapon with you. You never know what's going to happen. He always said it was better to be prepared and have it than not be prepared and need it and not have it. Well, anyway, I take off down through this little area, and I'm already there. I don't like this. It's just something about I don't like it. I get about halfway down it, and I hear something that sounds like you ever heard a wild pig chomp its teeth together, or a bear?
I have. I've heard a bear do it. Not a pig, though.
All right. Well, a pig will do the same thing, especially if there's piglets around. Especially in the sense when they usually have it during this time. I'm out there in the late part of the early part of the summer, and I'm thinking, oh my Lord, I've done got in here with a with a sow and some piglets. And this thing is fixing because they got tusks, man, that will rip you up. Now, pig is a bad thing to be messing with, especially a sow with piglet. And I don't have nowhere to go either. I got to go into the water where the slough is, or I got to go in this creek. And I just know this thing's fixing to get me. And now I've done froze, and I'm looking around, and I happen to look up in front of me, and about 20 yards away from me, there's the biggest, hairiest son of a gun I ever seen in my life. It's at least 10 foot tall or taller, at least 4 to 4.5 foot wide, just standing there with his mouth drawn back, his teeth showed. It's exactly what almost we had seen the time before, except for this one didn't have the conical head. It was more like a rounded head. But it's got the same kind of basic facial features, but I'm thinking, oh, crap. And right behind it is another one that looks just like that one, but it's about my size. I firmly believe what I did was I believe it was a juvenile, and the whole time I thought I was tracking a person, I was tracking that juvenile. And it went back to, I believe, this was a mama, because I didn't see any male genitalia, and it looked like it had breasts. But there was a little bit of brush, right where its chest was, right in front of me, so I couldn't really determine if it was a female or not. But I never seen any male genitalia. This other one's standing behind it. Whereas I'm standing there thinking, oh, shit, what do I do? All of a sudden I hear that same chomping noise where it sounds like a bear or a sow right behind me. And I kind of turn my head, and there's one on my left side and there's one on my right side. And they're not but about 7 to 8 foot tall. But they ain't looking too damn friendly either. And the only thing I knew was I'm sitting there thinking, what do I do? What do I do? And I was like, don't stare it in the eyes. And I just remember what my grandpa told me. So I'm standing there. I put my hands out by my side, away from, not down by my waist, because I've got a pistol on me. And I believe if I stuck that pistol right in one of them's eye, and pulled the trigger, it would have done up and pissed them off. That's how big these things were. A 357 with a 6-inch barrel would have done nothing but done like shooting a bear with a BB gun, is what I firmly believe. I stuck my hands out by my side, my palms up, and I just started talking because it made me feel better. I don't know if he's saying knew what the hell I was saying or not, but it made me feel better. And I just started saying, "Look, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to mess with y'all. I thought I thought I was tracking a human that was doing something bad. I'll leave. I'm sorry. You know, I didn't mean y'all no harm." And all of a sudden I heard that clack, clack, clack again, and kind of a, and I'm not looking up now. I got my head pointed down. I'm kind of cutting my eyes up. And the one that's in front of me, I can barely see the little one that was behind it kind of walking straight away from us, but trying to stay behind that one. And then I heard it sounded like a little bit of a water splash or something. And I kind of turned, and the one that was on my right, the one that's on my left, "I'm sorry. I didn't mean to mess with y'all. I thought I thought I was tracking a human that was doing something bad. I'll leave. I'm sorry. You know, I didn't mean y'all no harm." And all of a sudden I heard that clack, clack, clack again, and kind of a, and I'm not looking up now. I got my head pointed down. I'm kind of cutting my eyes up. And the one that's in front of me, I can barely see the little one that was behind it kind of walking straight away from us, but trying to stay behind that one. And then I heard it sounded like a little bit of a water splash or something. And I kind of turned, and the one that was on my right, the one that's on my left, I don't see them no more. I don't know where they went. I don't even remember. I don't see how I walked by them, as big as they were. I don't know where they went. And the one in front of me, it's just showing its teeth and blowing real hard. I just started backing up slowly. And I got past the point. I'm thinking any minute one of them ones that was on the side of me is going to reach out and grab me. And as I passed where the trees were they were standing right by, I don't see them. I don't know where they went, but I'm still backing up. When I got right to the edge of where that bottleneck was, the one that was in front of me, now we're about 40 yards away, it just kind of makes this noise. It was like it was annoyed. It turns and walks straight off that bank where that creek is, went off in the water, waded across that thing, got up, and when it got across that, it turned and just went, ah. At that time, I turned and was running.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
Get this.
Jesus.
I'm thinking I'm far enough away now. I probably ran 2 miles full. It is as fast as I could before I stopped. And the whole time I'm looking behind me, I'm looking to the side of me, I'm thinking one of these things is going to grab me. I never heard them chase me. I ain't saying they didn't, but I was so adamant about getting out of there, and I was running so hard. And when I got back to where I thought I was safe is when I stopped, and I almost passed out because I had done ran so far so fast for so long without stopping. Now that was when I was younger, that was more scary than when my cousin shot at it, because like I said, I just knew they were supposed to get me, because I believe I made them mad by tracking that little one.
Yeah, it's interesting. I know Bob Garrett told me a similar story when he was tracking one when he was out gold mining, and it's very similar to what you just said, because he caught up with it, and when he caught up with it, it was pissed. He had been following it, and it's very similar to your encounter. And it's, you know, these things are very dangerous, and I think if they can get a chance, they will hurt you. But I think in a lot of situations, if you're cool, they'll be cool, and that's just my own theory. A lot of people have the misperception of me as me thinking these things are all just godless killing machines, and I don't really think that's true. Will they hurt you? Yeah. Do I think they eat people? Absolutely. But I think that there's a fine line there sometimes when you run into these things. What's your take on that?
I'm going to be in the same boat you are. I think it depends all on the situation and how you react to that situation when it comes down to it. Because that could, I believe firmly, if I'd have reached and grabbed that pistol, I'd have been beat to a pulp and ate and pulled apart and everything else. I believe that would have been the worst thing I could have done. I talked to my grandfather was still alive during that time. He didn't. He died shortly. Within that same year, he died. But I come back and I told him about it because I didn't want to go back to work out there, but he made me. He told me I needed to, step up, be a man, and face my fears. Don't let this determine how you're going to live the rest of your life, and don't let it determine what kind of man you're going to be. You need to do that on your own. But you need, you need to face this. So like I said, I was scared. I'm talking about, this is the second time that I run into these things, and both times they didn't act too dang friendly. But I believe if I'd have done anything other than what I've done, I would not be sitting here right now. I believe that's the reason why, as I said, thanks. You hear about people running into them and they just look at each other, and the Bigfoot kind of walks back behind a tree, or usually they're going to keep something in between you and them. I think when usually it goes bad is when there's nothing between you and him, and it feels like it has no other choice but to defend itself or take you out most of the time. Now, you run up on some that are just bad disposition to start with, and I don't care what you do, it's not going to end very well. Especially like I did some stuff down in the Big Thicket area in Texas. Them things are meaner than a damn hornet's nest. And my take on the reason why they're mean like that and they act like that no matter who they come in contact with is I believe because they've been messed with so many times and shot at so many times and just basically molested so much. As soon as they run into humans, I call it the Hulk syndrome. They got to smash it.
Yeah. Well, you brought up a good point. And Bob, when I was down in East Texas in the Big Thicket area, Bob had mentioned it to me a couple times. I wanted to go into certain areas, and he was like, no, we don't go into those areas. And I said, because these things are so aggressive, or, why can't we go into these areas? And he said the cartel actually uses these different areas, and part of the Lone Star Trail down there, they actually utilize it. And I think you're right. I think maybe the cartel's been popping off shots at these things.
Well, yes, sir. Like I said, that's my firm belief from talking to people down there. That's the other thing. It's so hard to talk to people about this because even some of them that for a fact they've had an encounter, but they just won't admit it because I think they don't want to be the one that's labeled as crazy for saying, okay, yes, I've seen this happen. It's just hard to get people to talk about Louisiana, down in Alabama, Mississippi, even parts of Tennessee. These people are not that friendly about the. You're going to be having a friendly conversation and just mention, hey, well, have you ever had any encounters with Bigfoot or whatever? And the whole thing changes like you just slapped their mama or something.
Let me ask you, what do you think that these things are?
My opinion, I think they're some kind of ape. I think they belong in the ape side. A lot of people, I've had this debate with a couple of different people. Some people say, well, they're too much like human. I say, well, yeah. But I've had the unique pleasure, or if you want to call it that, I've been other places than just in the United States. And I've seen chimpanzees, and I've had the opportunity to actually see a silverback gorilla in its natural habitat. Them things don't like people either. I don't know. I said them things will charge you. They'll rip trees out of the ground and beat up against your chest and slap on the ground. They act just like a Bigfoot. I think they're some kind of ape. What is your thought on it?
I tend to agree. The weird part, there's some, obviously with these types of creatures, you'll find different types of descriptions. And sometimes people don't like to hear it looked very human-like. It didn't look like a monkey. And I've noticed, and I've said this a million times on the show, but on the East Coast, I get a lot of strange reports like that. They'll describe the black eyes just like you described. They'll describe the nose just like you described. They'll describe everything that you just described. But what they'll say is the face reminded them of a Native American with the high cheekbones, and it looked very human-like. But you get down
that's
south.
The one part I'm sorry. That's the one thing I just remembered. I told you beforehand, but I forgot this time. The cheekbones on that thing. That's the way the cheekbones reminded me of, like a Native American cheekbone. It was just, it's odd. It's not exactly like it, but that's the closest thing I can think of. You could tell it had defining cheekbones.
Yeah.
That's the one, the other description I left out that I just then. But I remember I told you beforehand. But like I said, it's just odd. And I'm like you. Some of them, the ones down in Florida, don't look like the first ones I've seen. They got longer hair, and I don't know if that's because of the pest or whatever, but it looks.
Hey guys, have a great night. I appreciate you being here, and if I don't see you guys before Christmas, have a great Christmas, have a great holiday. See you guys soon, okay? Take care.
It looks like hair with Spanish moss in it.
Yeah, and that's what a lot of times people will say it had like a rocker haircut, or I've had different witnesses on that describe the longer hair. You're right. And actually in Florida, I do get the longer hair. People describe that. But it really depends on the region. And not that that's going to definitely nail down someone's description, because everyone's perspective is a little bit different. Some of the details are a little bit different. But that's, people describe them anywhere from apes to human to chimpanzees. Most people will say somewhere between a chimpanzee and a person, or an ape and a person. That's kind of what I saw. And that's kind of how they describe it. And maybe it's because of the human nose and just kind of the structure of the head. One thing that you mentioned in both of your encounters I find interesting is when I was down in Texas, and I apologize to you for going back, recounting this, but there was two.
No, sir. I'm having a good time. Thank you.
Yeah, no, there was two separate areas. And one of the areas, I was asking Bob about the descriptions of what people saw. And he would describe them having the conical shaped head, and they were just different. They just looked different. Well, there's another area where they have more of the rounder head, what you're describing. And there's that, coincidentally, that's where the Hells Angels bar is out there, where the guys say the apes keep throwing them off their motorcycles, but that they have the rounder heads. And what's interesting about
Now, what exactly did you hear? Well, she described it to a T, and so they heard it, and that's kind of been it as so far.